A good Erev Shabbos, everyone. Erev Shabbos, Parshat Noach. Erev Shabbos, the third Shabbos of the war. Took me a while to figure out what the Nakuda was for me. What was going on in my head. There's so many thoughts, so many feelings pushed in so many different directions. Every interaction, everything you hear about, every piece of news has a different effect on a different part. I noticed that there are two reactions to the things that are going on around us. One is incredible to watch. The resilience of the Jewish people. Our ability in the face of such incredible darkness to be able to say, life goes on, we have to continue. We have to live, we have to take care of ourselves, we have to grow. And this now is in a new context. It's got a new backdrop. And it's a new reality. But we're operating within inside that new reality. But then there are those moments where it just seems so black and so dark. It's very difficult to find the light. It's very difficult to find the positive. And it just seems like it's not going to end. And maybe perhaps not going to end well. So like every week and like every moment, like every day, every second, we have to look back to the Torah to find our guidance on this. Parshat Noach is a beautiful place to learn so many lessons. But after the Mabul, God promises Noach that he's never going to bring a Mabul, he's never going to bring a flood to the world again the way that he brought it. It's not that other things aren't going to happen, but a flood is not going to happen. And he shows him a rainbow. And the rainbow is the proof. It's the reminder. There's not going to be that kind of destruction. Rainbows are pretty. They're nice, beautiful, interesting. But a reminder, a message to Noach. So many things could have been messages. What's the message in a rainbow? But to understand that, we have to look at Noach's life in general, that Noach, 120 years building a teva, 120 years in a place where there were no boats, where there was no water, there was no marina. And he was sitting there and he was building a boat, and people were asking him, what are you doing? And he said, I'm building a boat because it's going to rain and you're all going to die. And not one person even raised an eyebrow and said, how much would it cost? Just inquiring. I'm asking for a friend. No, nobody, nothing. How can Noach have influenced? No one. Avraham Avinu didn't try, and he influenced the whole world. Turned the world into a monotheistic entity. Noach is garnished. Nothing. Because maybe, as our rabbis explained, Noach lost sight of the fact that people could change. He lost hope in people. It was so dark and so black. The immorality was so rampant. The world had crumbled, and it was just an awful place. It was a contradiction in terms. It was everything about it was falseness and hypocrisy. And Noach looked at it and said, this is so bad and it's so black that it can never, there's no light here. This can't change. People will never be able to rehabilitate. Okay, God told me I have to tell them, I'll tell them. Like a computer. Like an AI voice. But not coming from the depths. Because he lost that sense of hope. And that's why I couldn't change anybody. Maybe that's the reason that God showed him the rainbow. Because the rainbow comes, the day starts with sun. And then the clouds come, and the rain comes. And then after the rain comes, the sun comes out again. And when the sun hits the rain, it forms a rainbow. After that great darkness comes this incredible beauty. And the message that God was sending to Noach was that, you know what? People are dark. And they are living in darkness. But even in that darkness, there can be beauty and there can be light. No person, no situation, no existence is so bad and so ruined that it can't be fixed. And within it, there's contained this incredible beauty. And that's the rainbow. This beautiful medrash. The medrash says that 5 were zochet to see a brighter day. They were zochet to see an olam chadash, a new world. Noach is included in that. Yosef, he was a slave, almost destroyed by the king, and then he became the second in command to him. Moshe, that he had to run away from Paro, and then he ended up watching him and his army drown. Eiv, inundated, destroyed seemingly by the world, and then becoming in charge of it. Mordechai, who watched himself almost get hung and ended up hanging the one that was going to hang him. And you have to wonder why each one of them saw an olam chadash. They saw a new world. A world that turned around completely. A world of rainbows. Because they believed that they would see a new world. And the degree to which they believed they would see a new world, that was why they saw a new world. It wasn't just that they were zocha, it worked out good for them. But it's because they believed they would see a new world. Because they believed in the power of people to pray and of God to listen. And of the darkness to be pierced with light. Because they didn't throw their hands up in despair. Because they were resilient and they were able to move on. That's where they saw an olam chadash. And maybe that's one of the takeaways that we need to bring with us this Shabbos. That yeah, it's pretty dark out there. And there's no short tunnel at which we can see a ray of light. There's a long tunnel in front of us. They say it's going to be a long haul. But I don't believe that there is light at the end of that tunnel. I know that there's light at the end of that tunnel. I know that this cloud is going to blow over and the sun is going to shine. And I'm going to see that beauty. I'm going to see that rainbow. This Motzoi Shabbos, I'm going to go outside after Shabbos, dressed in my Shabbos clothes. And I'm going to look at that promise. I'm going to look at that moon, and I'm going to see that moon that waxes and wanes. I'm going to see that moon that was bright and shining in the sky that then became almost disappeared. And now I'm going to watch it growing again. And I'm going to turn to God and I'm going to bless him for giving me the moon as another symbol of that promise. The Netzach Yisrael Le'Yishaker, that we ain't going nowhere, and that we will see an Olam Chadash. We will see a new world. And the more reminders of that I see, and the more I tell myself that, and the more I understand that, and the more I see that in my davening, the more I live that in my life, then the more I live not with a belief in an Olam Chadash, but in a knowledge that there is going to be an Olam Chadash. And this darkness will disappear and the sun will shine. And that's what will help me. And that's what will help us. And that's what will help our world get through these dark times. Not merely a belief in an Olam Chadash, but in a knowledge that we're about to see a new world emerge. It should happen quickly and speedily in our days. We should hear only beautiful things and be able to see that rainbow, be able to see that beauty in our world and in our lives, and enjoy and find pleasure in every moment of our existence. Live our lives with incredible meaning. And we will, in fact, be zocha to enjoy, to see, and to arrive at that Olam Chadash. Have a beautiful and amazing Shabbos.